for me to go over the 3 stages of creation with Bob Proctor, from me listening to his video earlier today. But instead, I wanted to come on here and just pretty much talk about my favorite book. So I hope you guys are having a phenomenal night. If not, do understand your night, your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. Understand that you have the ability to change your whole entire existence, your whole entire life. Okay. Hey, Miss Harden, peace to you, baby. Peace to you. And so, the plan was to go over the 3 creation stages, but instead I'm gonna talk about my favorite book, okay? And honey, this book, I'm trying to see, because this book done been through some things. Okay, this book done been through some things, okay? The cover done came off, but this is the book. This I want to say this book is my favorite read. Okay, so you guys know, lately I have been talking about the Prosperity Bible, which is this book, and it has like all the authors and stuff in there. And one of the things I'm gonna say is this, right? Like, if you really want to change your life, you have to understand that you have the ability to do so. Okay, I don't care what's showing up in your life, and I'm not saying it in a sense where as though like just to disregard whatever is going on in your life, but you have to understand that you have the ability to change it. And one of the things that I love about this book, The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power by Vernon Howard. So how did I come across this book? So you guys remember what I said before? I said, when I would listen to Bob Proctor, okay, he always would mention a book. And Bob Proctor was very, very successful, okay, especially in regards to changing his paradigm, which is a multitude of habits. And I remember I could even in like the book, PsychoCybernetics, and it talks about, like Matt said, whenever this book, okay, PsychoCybernetics. In his book, one of the things that Matt said, okay, in his book, he said, when someone recommends a book, right, or when you read a book that changed your life, you will know where you was at, the date that it happened, and you are like, I know exactly where I was at when I purchased The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power by Vernon Howard. Honey, I was on my way to Philly. Okay. I'm a Jersey girl. Okay. So I was on my way to Philly. I was about to go get, I was on my way to Vegan Butcher. If you guys, if you ever in a Philly area, and I don't know the guys, personally who owns the restaurant. Okay. Me and my youngest son, Javon, we went there twice. Well, we went there one time, but they was closing because they were celebrating Juneteenth. And then a second time I went there. So I'm gonna give you guys a story and then I'm gonna get into the book. Okay. So I always get these downloads, right? And many of us, I like to say all of us get downloads. Okay. It's just if you are listening to your intuition. Okay. And it was this one particular day I was gonna do Uber, and my mindset was I need to do Uber, I need to pay bills and whatever it was like that. Okay. So what wound up happening, I got this download, like just to pretty much take some time out to myself, right? So for me to go to a vegan restaurant. And for me, I don't like going nearby. Okay. I like going far out. Like, I like seeing different things. I like seeing different people. I like eating different foods. I just like the experience of being around different. Okay. And no matter how nervous at times I may be when I go to a different city or whatever it is, one of the things that I remember, okay, is this. People are generally the same. Okay, once you get past the culture and stuff like that, people are generally the same. And not only that, you attract what you are. So if you're a person that you attracting kindness, you attracting love, you attracting, strangers appeared to be strangers coming up to you, talking to you and stuff like that, that is because of who you are. Remember, we are all energy, okay? And I remember listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he gave this analysis. He said he was on what is that show? I can't think of the name of this show, but he was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? And I think he went to the show or something like that. Dr. Wayne Dyer. I never remember him being on that show, but I remember listening to an audio of Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I remember him saying that it was a lady. He was on a beach or something, and he had met like two people, right? He had met this one lady. I believe she was from Chicago or whatever it was like that, and the lady, or she was from New York, the first person. And the lady came up to him. She was like, oh, talking to him and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, she just moved, I believe, from New York City and stuff like that. And she had asked Dr. Wayne Dyer, like, how's the people here? And Wayne Dyer said back to the lady, he said, well, how was the people in New York? And so she was like, oh, they was pushy, they was rushing, nobody really talked to anybody and stuff like that. And one of the things Wayne Dyer said to her, he said, well, the people they're going to be just like New York. The reason why he said that, okay, was because many times we want the outside to change. The outside is not finna change if you don't change, okay? He met another lady that was from Chicago. That lady, she asked him the same exact question. And Wayne Dyer said to her, he said, how's the people in Chicago? And she said, oh, the people are very nice. They kind. I'm a miss it there and all these different things. And Dr. Wayne Dyer said to her, hey, Tracy, peace to you, baby, peace to you. Dr. Wayne Dyer said to her, he said, the people is just like they're here. Why did he say that? The same exact reason that Dr. Wayne Dyer also said, if you go to a doctor office, you go to your doctor office and you are looking for a prescription. You want a prescription because perhaps you have a cold or whatever it is like that. But when the doctor goes to fill out the prescription, you say, no, don't fill it out for me. Fill it out to my mother-in-law. You cannot get different if you don't do different. You're going to constantly get the same by you being the same. And you guys, I talked to you guys a lot about this because it was something that I needed to see within my own life, that I needed to do different in order for me to receive different. I never was a bad person. I mean, my self-esteem, it was rather low, okay? And from my self-esteem being low, I will often get into relationships where as though I will play second because I didn't know my value. And so once you start doing the work on yourself, you start seeing that, you don't have to settle in any area of your life. You really don't have to settle. You don't have to settle when it comes to your finances. You don't have to settle when it comes to relationships. No part of your life do you have to settle, only if you choose to do so. And the only way that you would choose to do so, if you look at yourself and you feel as though that you're not capable of receiving whatever it is that you want to receive, whatever it is desired that you may be wanting. But the truth of the matter is, we are all able to receive whatever it is that we put our mind to. It'll take some work, it'll take some dedication, but within due time, you'll receive whatever it is that you want to manifest. And so, another story I remember from Dr. Wayne Dyer, one of the things that he said, imagine you lost your keys, okay? Hey, Christopher, peace to you, baby. Is it Christopher? Honey, I don't want to butcher your name. Are you from China? But peace to you, baby, peace to you. So one of the things I also, you want to say hello, but you can't get all the way in.
Hello.
Another thing, that's my youngest daughter, Amani. Okay, honey, let me tell you something about this, okay? since my children, they see me reading books. Remember, a lot of times, like we had our parents tell us to do stuff, but sometimes they wouldn't be doing it, right? And see, since my children, because I would be like, read a book, read a book, read a book, and since they see me reading books, and since they see me attending different classes or whatever it is, and I'm always like letting people know, like, oh, like, this book I'm reading or whatever it is, they pick up the book, they read the books. So a lot of times it's not so much what we say, is pretty much what we do, right? But getting back, oh, they said hello, Amani. Getting back to Dr. Wayne Dyer, one of the things that he said, imagine you had some house keys, right? And you lost your house keys inside the house. You dropped them in the house. But instead of you looking for the house keys in the house, right? The last time you seen your house keys, they was in the house, okay? You go outside and you are looking for your keys. 2 hours wind up going past. A friend, a neighbor comes along and say, hey, what's up? What you looking for? And you're like, oh, I dropped my keys. And, so the neighbor, your friend, is helping you look for the keys and things of that nature. And then a friend says to you, he says, how long ago did you lose like, when was the last time you seen the keys? And you say, the last time I seen the keys, I seen them in my house. And a friend says, so why are you looking outside? Same as that concept of, why are you looking outside for love? Why are you looking outside for approval? Why are you looking outside yourself for someone to validate who you are? And I know, right? It goes back to the whole thing far as, when you was a kid and you may have said, oh, you was pretty, or you may have was told, you don't say that, you let somebody else say it. But you need to start affirming you need to start affirming who you are. Because if not, you're going to continuously seek validation outside you. And last time I checked, validation is for parking. So, with that being said, let's get to my favorite book. Okay? I love this book. This book done been through some things, but honey, it's still rolling and going. Okay, I love this book so much. I remember I remember I was watching this young lady on YouTube, okay? And I remember it was a Sunday night. I remember verbatim. And this young lady, she's a content creator. And as she was talking about her content, she like 20 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. As she's talking about the content and stuff like that, one of the things that happened, I started feeling some type of way, right? Like I started feeling like, oh my goodness, my life and, my subscribers, because sometimes I would look at my numbers and then I would be like, oh, I should be further along or, whatever it was. And I remember my intuition was like, pick up this book, right? It was in a closet. No, actually it was on my dresser. I read this book a few times, okay? And one of the things that is said, because I think sometimes people think, especially if you talk about spirituality, sometimes people have this concept of people who had a spiritual awakening or whatever it is like that they don't go through anything, right? They feel like, you will never experience, depression, or you will never experience anxiety or whatever it is like that. But that's not true. Okay, because we are all having a human experience. And to the ones that's out there that may be going through something, and I like to say growing through it, okay, awareness is key. If you are aware, I don't give a damn what it is. If you are aware of it, and I was looking for the page where Vernon Howard talked about awareness and how he said he actually talks about depression in this book. And one of the things he says is, if you are depressed, like, at least you're aware, right? Because if you, one of the things I say is this, right? I tell you guys sometimes, like, I know if I'm feeling some type of way, especially like sometimes in the morning, like, with my children, getting them, right? And whenever I'm doing a challenge, I could always see like I'm uncomfortable. And then sometimes what I tend to do, I start yelling, I start complaining and everything like that. But that's because I'm uncomfortable. And so I started being mindful of my emotions, right? And when I see I'm getting that way, like when I see like I'm being snappy or whatever it is like that, like prime example this morning, I just was like, you know what, Dina, like, come on, okay? And I turned on to Bob Proctor. So we all have a choice, right? Like that's the whole point. Like we all have a choice. We all have a choice to say, you know what, I see the way I'm becoming, and actually I didn't even, every day I meditate, but I didn't even meditate. And I'm very shocked because normally I meditate first thing in the morning. Okay. But we all have the ability to choose exactly how we want to live our lives, right? It's a decision. In the words of Kevin Trudone, success is a decision away. And the things that you want that's on that frequency, okay, that car, that house, or whatever it is like that, you have to be on that frequency. So therefore, you can manifest the things that you say you desire. All right, without further ado, okay, because I know you guys like, all right, what about the book? Okay, so listen, this book is by far is the phenomenalest book. I love this book. My favorite book. This book and The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Oh, you talk about good time. Okay, I read that book by Dr. Joseph Murphy a few times. Okay, because it's so good. And who would ever think? Okay, that I would be saying this, okay? But it's such a phenomenal read. Like, if you're a person that just want to change your mindset with the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, let me tell you something. In that book, and I'm going to get to this, I promise, right? In that book, but I just got to say this, okay? I remember in a book, right? It was Dr. Joseph Murphy. He had this client, right? And the lady, she was saying, like, why do she keep on marrying effeminate men, right? Effeminate is men like, I want to say like mama boys, men that are more into they feminine as opposed to they masculine. We all have both, okay? We all have the masculine and the feminine, all of us, okay? Male and female. But I remember reading that book and I had an aha moment because I would date guys that I felt like I could put into boxes, right? Like I felt like basically I can control, right? And that was like taking the easy route out because I felt like, all right, if I could, I would settle. And then once I settle, it's like I want to turn this person into my ideal guy that I didn't want to be patient for, right? And I remember reading a book by Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. I remember the lady was asking, like, why do she keep on marrying effeminate men, right? And Dr. Joseph Murphy basically was telling her, like, like all the guys that you married, were they the same? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, did you know that, those the type of guys that you was going after? And she said, no. She was like, if I knew that, I would have never married him. Right. And the red flags is always there. The red flags, how the person are, they are always there. And a lot of times we tend to do things subconsciously, right? It's like on autopilot. You seen probably your mama mess with guys that was effeminate, so therefore you turn and mess with guys that are effeminate, right? Or you seen your mama mess with guys that abused her, so therefore you mess with guys that abuse you, right? And oftentimes you think like, well, why I keep on attracting these people? Or sometimes people don't even, they're not even aware that they attracting them. They just feel like the people just show up. And that's never the case. Everything that comes into our life is from us manifesting it, from us attracting it, because who we are. Not what we say we want, but exactly who we are. And once you start looking at your life and start taking accountability and saying like and actually getting a lesson, you won't repeat that course again. Because when a red flag shows up, okay, and let me tell you something, they show up very quick. If you're not desperate, they show up so quick. So quick. They show up real quick. Because you able to make the connection like, oh my goodness, my ex was like this. When I first met my ex, he was just like this. He give me vibes of my ex. They show up real quick. So what happened was, so the lady, she had wound up doing the work on herself, and the problem was the reason she was attracting effeminate men was because she was so in her masculine energy. Like she was controlling. I could I could relate to that. Okay, when I was dating the guys I was dating, she was controlling. She pretty much was like the man of the relationship, and so that's why she would attract the effeminate men. And so she had to reverse roles, so to speak, and do the work on herself. And then she met this guy who was like he played football. I was reading that book. I said, okay. He played football. He was very masculine. He knew who he was. Okay. He knew who he was. Okay. She wasn't finna run over him, but she changed who she was. So therefore, she got a guy that was in his masculine. Imagine that. Like, sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, I want someone to take up for me. Right. And I used to say that. I want a guy that is going to protect me. Okay. He's going to be a provider. He's going to be all these things. And I'm having an aha moment because one of the things that I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, you want that. Right. And I used to say, well, I got to take up for myself. No, you got to be more in your feminine energy. You got to be more in your feminine energy. And that's the beauty of life. Like, I can't, just knowing you have the ability to change your life. That is so phenomenal because you look at your life and you're like, God damn, I ain't got to stay this way. I could be a better person tomorrow. I could start today. I could start doing things different today. I could just make a decision to be a better person. Okay. And just move and just start doing it. Okay. And let me tell you something. When you make that decision, you don't need all the answers. You don't need the map or whatever. You just need to make a decision. Okay. And let me tell you, the universe is going to conspire to work in your favor. It's going to conspire. Okay, so without further ado, another thing I like about this book, okay, The Mystic Path of Cosmic Power by Vernon Howard. One of the things Vernon Howard says, instead of you looking for the kingdom or looking for things outside your existence, right, search the kingdom, right? And when I read that, remember what I said, I was watching a young lady on YouTube and I was like, oh, doing a comparison thing. Okay. Comparison is the greatest thief. Okay. And I was watching my intuition said, get this book. And I started reading it over again. Right. And it says this, the greatest secret on earth. What is the cause and cure of a man's or a woman's problem on earth? That is the foremost question ever formed in the human mind. Discovering the cause and applying the cure is the purpose of this book. I told you this book is good. Okay. Mankind can be likened to a large party of tourists searching for a new home site. They brought a train that can take them from a dry and dreary desert to a grand and lofty mountaintop. The travel guide assures them that the higher they go, the greater their capacity to see and enjoy the countryside. There are stations, stops, or along the upward way. A tourist may get off and end his trip at any point he likes. Okay, so whatever it is that you don't like, you could always get off and you could do something different. Okay. All right, you guys start getting ready for bed. Come on. Let's go. It's already 10. He is perfectly to cut himself short or to continue all the way to the top.
I'm sleeping with Kitty.
Some get off at the first stop. Shh. They find themselves in desolate country. They settle down in secret despair. Others go on for another station or two, then take their leave of the train. Amani, I'm doing a video. Their location is somewhat better, but still they settle down with a vague uneasiness. Okay? Settling. Okay? What he's saying is, family, I'm gonna come right back on here. Let me put these kids to bed. I'm gonna come right back as soon as they get in bed.
Mom hit me. No, you hit me first.